Hi, I'm Alrick and welcome to the show. Today we're talking about technology. Where are we heading? What does the future look like? And today I have Yakini and Joel with me on set. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
How did you get started, Yakini?
Well, I decided to pursue the route of, electronics and energy, and about my second year of university. At the time, I was just really trying to figure out what it is that I really wanted to specialize in, and that's really what I both had an interest in, had a passion for, as well as when I was doing my research, I saw that that's the way the world was going. So did a lot of research that someone to really figure out what direction I wanted to take, and that was the direction. And ever since then, again, it still has maintained my passion. It's what I love, and yeah, that's how I ended up here many years later, doing a lot of things I never saw myself doing when I decided on that journey. But I mean, it's all been worth it.
Right, Joel. The future demands action.
Yes.
What are some of the actions that you have been taking now so that you can prepare not just yourself as a professional for the future, but how can you help to prepare the generation and businesses for the future?
I think one of the best ways to prepare the entire populace for the future is just realizing that we are in a period of digital transformation, where existing paper-based business processes are being digitized for the new world that's been created.
The new world.
The new world, the metaverse, Web 3.0, cryptocurrencies, decentralized access to technology.
Wow. Now, how did you get started?
I got started at a really young age. My father is into electronics, so he would fix TVs, computers for our neighbors or friends. So that's basically how I got started, like just loving technology. And going through high school, I just decided, wow, this is really fun. I'm going to pursue a bachelor's in computer science at NCU and become a software engineer.
Yeah. Now, Yakini, for robotics, what is it that we need to know about now? What's happening in terms of developing robots to manage businesses, to impact our personal lives? That's also where your interest is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, robotics is really my first love, still is. If I were to say a few things, robotics isn't new. It's been standard practice for a lot of industries for about 20 years now. What's definitely happening is that you have broad adoption of robotics in multiple different sectors. The technology is becoming more affordable. Robots are getting smarter, and it's only a matter of time before a lot of and just to give some context, a robot isn't necessarily just a humanoid robot with arms and legs, or just something with an arm.
Yeah, that's what we think about.
Usually because Hollywood and all, but robots are so much more than that. Robots can be fully digital as well, and doing fully digital tasks. Some robots have mechanical aspects, and of course they're going to play a major role not just in our industry but also agriculture. And if we want to stay competitive in the global market, then as much automation as possible is necessary. But what I'm going to also go out of the way to say is I think we also need to be very prudent about what that's going to mean for our labor force. We definitely need to be training our next generation to be much more digitally competent to compete in the global market, because these robots, these AI are going to be coming for a lot of jobs that have been there for generations, and we definitely need to be prepared for what that's going to mean for our labor market.
Right. For you, Joy, you have been helping to train young people to prepare them for the future.
Yes.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, so one of the main things that I've been doing over the years is keeping events where I expose people to the life of remote work. I've been working remotely for 5 years at multiple US companies. I have worked on apps that have over 20 million downloads on the Play Store, on the App Store. So I have been exposing young people to that idea. What I'm trying to say is, hey, I am not special, I am not talented. I put in the work and I work really hard. I read documentation, I go to YouTube and watch tutorials, and I learn how to build apps. It's a process that it is complex, but it's also easy from an information access standpoint. So one of the main one of just my main goals in life is to expose young people to the opportunities that are available in technology and to showcase that, listen, at this particular time, there's a convergence of hardware and software taking place that will help to bring us into the next generation of technology.
Yekini, where are we now? Are we preparing the youngsters enough?
Enough? No, I don't think so. I think they were definitely making attempts, and I think there are sincere, legitimate, very valid, effective attempts at doing that. Myself, I still lecture mechatronics at the University of the West Indies, and I also tutor when I can. But just to say that despite all of what is happening, we definitely need to be doing a lot more. I think separate and apart from just computer literacy, we definitely need to improve our numerical and just standard literacy rates in order to be more computer literate across the board. But there's definitely a whole lot more that we need to be doing, and I think we need to be doing it very soon, because especially in light of the pandemic and a lot of the fallouts in education, we're really playing catch up with the rest of the world right now. And we're already behind, and we need to be putting double the effort into educating all of our youth into making sure that they're competent in the digital world.
With the onset of the pandemic, what have you seen so far in terms of how it has affected business and how necessary technology is for all of us?
I think one of the most interesting things that happened in the pandemic is all of us shifted literally to Zoom. So we all started doing a lot of different business activities, religious activities, educational activities, utilizing video streaming. And there were entities who before would have never allowed people to work from home, who were forced to allow this new way of work. So what has happened is a behavioral change.
Yeah.
And this behavioral change is here to stay, because now we are more accustomed to getting food delivered. Now we're more accustomed to doing calls online. So businesses are now in the space where they're like, okay, if this pandemic came and it disrupted our entire means of operation, then we need to move to technological based solutions so that we are bulletproof the next time this happens again.
All right, we take a break. When we come back, we'll talk more about technology and how Jamaica will grow once we concentrate on it just a little bit more.
The Alrick Show.
Every day the talks are about fintech, artificial intelligence, overall technology. Where is Jamaica in all of this? Prelabs, Mr. Yekini, CEO and founder. What is Prelabs doing in order to impact Jamaica? What are you doing?
It's really to figure out where to start, but I think personally I try to ensure that everything that Prelabs is doing is solving a critical problem that Jamaica has. So to start, we have a very high cost of energy. We have a water security issue that is expected to become further exacerbated by climate change. So as a result, we already have a lot of water tanks on every building just because we're not sure if we're going to have water throughout the course of the day. So we have simple systems in place to detect the level of the water tank, let you know in real time if it starts to go low, and even if you have a backup supply, you can turn on water from another supply or shut off water from the tank if you need to from your smartphone from anywhere in the world. If you have a leak, we have flow sensors on the main line going into the house to let you know that if you have excessive use or if somebody left on a faucet or if the toilet is leaking, and toilets are a major problem when it comes to faulty appliances. You can see that impact in real time, so you don't have to wait until the end of the month or a couple months down the line when you have ridiculously high water bills and you're not really sure why, or extensive water damage. The same thing with energy. If you leave an AC on and you go to the room and, like, for example, you have an Airbnb or a rental and you don't want the AC on all day, you can implement sensors to automatically turn off the AC if somebody leave open a window or if nobody's inside the room for a certain period of time. So that's around property management, but we also have systems for smart farms as well. So a lot of agriculture in Jamaica is guesswork. You have a low yield, low harvest, and you're not really sure why you ask. A lot of times the response is, boy, we never get too much rain this month, but it could be something else. It could be the humidity, it could be the temperature, it could be disease. The environment actually influences crop yields, and we don't have a lot of data to inform our decisions on what are the best agricultural processes. So we have systems that farmers can use to access this data to say exactly what the humidity, soil temperature, all the conditions that influence sunlight, all the conditions that influences the crop productivity, and you just automate things such as irrigation so that you don't overwater or underwater your crops, or you can mist your crops to ensure that, like if you have leafy greens, you have optimal humidity to ensure optimal productivity. This is the way the world is heading in terms of agriculture. So a lot of, as much as we've had great farmers for generations, if we want to compete on a global scale, we're going to have to take a data-driven approach to it. And the last thing I want to talk about is things that we're doing around process management systems. So we've done for a few industrial partners as well. A lot of our productive sectors aren't very data heavy on understanding where their bottlenecks are, where their most expensive processes are. So we implement sensors and various tablets and input parameters so that people can understand exactly where the problem areas are along their process, production process, so that they can make informed decisions when deciding to change out or invest in a new solution or just have a policy change. They can see exactly how it will impact their bottom line ahead of time before actually waiting a couple months down the line and seeing how it affects your profit margins.
Losing or spending millions.
Right, exactly. Sometimes more than that. So yeah, really and truly, a lot of what we're doing is figuring out ways in which us as individuals, as homeowners, as businesses can be more connected with our processes, with our environments, to make smarter decisions, to take out some of the human error with like remembering to turn something off or something failing and nobody's there. Very recently, you would have seen 2 major fires at some warehouses.
Yeah.
It's not complicated for us to implement a system to monitor the air quality inside of a warehouse or a business. And if nobody's there, you can instantly get an email or SMS notification saying that smoke is detected in this building, so you can have a faster and more prompt response. Smoke detectors work great. Regular, traditional smoke detectors work great, but if there's nobody there, then nobody's there to hear them. And then the fire is going to get to a point where you've already lost more merchandise than you're comfortable with, and the response is going to be too late. So
and this is also good for farms as well.
For sure.
You have a lot of bushfires as well.
For sure, not even just with understanding the environmental parameters, but also security. Predial larceny is a major issue.
Right, Joel, what are some of the apps that you have developed and still working on that has been helping to make lives so much easier?
So I started out making apps back in 2012, and the first app I created was a pothole positioning system, and that app was an app that detected potholes in the road. So what I basically did was I utilized the accelerometer, the gyroscope, several sensors within the phone to detect the change in velocity, detect change in acceleration.
So is it that I can have that, so I can know when I'm driving the potholes up the road?
It's no longer on the Play Store, but
Right.
back in that time, that was the purpose of it, and that was like my first exploration
Right.
into the power.
I'm gonna need it because I get some surprise on the road sometimes. Bloop.
Yeah, so that was my first exploration into the power of smartphones and just what the technology could enable.
Yeah.
And from there, like in my current work, I work at Automatic. And Automatic is the company behind some of the world's largest apps. We currently maintain WordPress. So WordPress has almost 150 million websites running on our stack on the planet. Day one journaling app, that's millions of users. Pocket Cast, one of the most popular podcasting apps on the planet as well. So we are serving hundreds of millions of people each month with our technology, and the ultimate goal is to democratize publishing.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing at the company in terms of thinking about, okay, how can we bring more people online? How can more Jamaican businesses get online faster, quicker? And the way to do that is low code, no code solutions.
Are you seeing that a lot of businesses want to get online now more than anything else?
Yes, of course. But the biggest challenge for most businesses is that they don't have software engineers and programmers, because these professions are highly paid, highly skilled, and are expensive. But the good thing is that solutions like WordPress and several others out there are low code, so you can build a website in even 24 hours, and not write a line of code. Have it deployed and ready to serve your customers' needs.
All right, we take a break. When we come back, I find out how I can become a software engineer so I can finally start making some money, and also about the future of technology.
The Alrick Show.
We continue our conversation on the future of technology with Yekini and Joel. Help me to understand the metaverse. What's coming? What's coming?
So over the past 20 years, the web started out as Web 1.0. So this was back in early 2000s when we were just like reading things from websites. Then came Web 2.0, which was Facebook and Twitter, where we could create blogs and share music and songs and basically connect with each other. So the next version of the web is Web 3.0. That's a metaverse, where now things are decentralized, things are virtual. It's like basically converting the physical world into a digital reality. And we're already living in this digital reality because we're always glued to our phones.
So I can be literally here, but I'm in Iceland.
Exactly. So you'll be able to utilize virtual reality technology, augmented reality technology to work, play, and basically experience the world in a totally different light. And you will be able to feel the sensory inputs. So brain-computer interface devices are being designed that are gonna attach to us and allow us to feel like we're in a place that we're not, allow us to communicate in ways that would allow us to think that the person is right beside us, even if they are halfway across the world. The technology is here.
And we must be prepared for it. We must get ready.
Yeah, we must get
ready. Else
ready.
the wagon will leave us.
Exactly so. Exactly so. But the most important thing that I would like to say is that the geographical separation that has left the world, like there are no boundaries anymore. I remember being in Manchester and connecting to the web and talking to engineers at Google, interfacing with engineers at Facebook, sharing ideas and building products in open source for other engineers to utilize. So the digital world has literally removed all borders. So opportunities are equal in a sense.
Yekini, how excited are you about tomorrow?
In the same breath as I encourage the shift, I also try to encourage the social intervention that's necessary to ensuring that we are preparing our people to be a part of this new world. You know, a lot of the jobs that we think a robot can't replace, most likely it can.
Will be.
Yeah, it will. The vast majority of our jobs are going to be replaced by robots. So I think as much as, you know, to increase our productivity, we need to embrace technology. In the same breath, we need to be putting double effort into educating our people into being a part of that change and not victims of it.
Right. India now, they have this model where they are literally teaching everybody to learn technology. What can we learn from them?
I think what we can learn from India's approach to creating one of the largest hubs for software engineering in the world is that programming is like a second language. So it's like speaking English. So what you're basically doing is learning and telling the computer what to do. So when you're creating these apps, when I'm creating an iPhone or an Android app, I'm telling a button to go to a particular place on the screen. I'm telling a video to play. I'm telling something to scroll, that you can scroll a list and see pictures and images and videos, sending a message. So what they have done is they have integrated this curriculum into their schools, into universities, and their people are being exposed to it because it's so lucrative. So what I think we need to do as a country is, from a STEM standpoint, we need to have a deeper integration into the curriculum, more focus on mathematics, because math is beautiful. Right. Math powers a lot of core technology and just innovative work that's taking place, but we shy away from math.
How can I become a software engineer without doing math?
So to become a software engineer, there are a lot of tutorials online. Right. YouTube is a very powerful resource, I always say to people. So a lot of us watch videos on YouTube, music videos and movies, but there are a lot of free programming tutorials. The word free. I learned all of this apart from my degree for free because it's a space that knowledge is shared openly.
Right. All right.
Might just add to that to say that you don't need to be in the modern world because of people like Joel, you don't need to be a software developer to build apps and websites anymore. You can use low-code and no-code tools and accomplish a lot of the things that you would necessarily need to get a whole degree or spend as much time developing. Like,
No, the future has really been changing. Well, the future is already here, rather,
Yes.
because no longer I have to go and sit inside a classroom to become.
Exactly.
For
to
sure,
become.
for sure. And as much as we should encourage programmers across the board, I wouldn't let that be a barrier anymore because no code and low code I think is a huge revolution that is still in its infancy. So you're going to have a lot of programs being written by, without any code whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's what has allowed our platform, WordPress, to reach almost 150 million websites because all of those websites were built primarily by people without programming knowledge. So what we're basically doing is we're lessening the barrier to entry, lessening the requirements, and basically giving people a space to be creative.
And what they're actually doing in India and a few other places in the world as well is to introduce people into programming that don't start from the text version of programming, they start from blocks. So they start from because programming is really just this happening and what if, it's just logic. We use programming every day and don't realize it. In the way that we structure our thoughts, in the way that we converse and make decisions. It's the same way that we've designed computers off of the human mind. So it's the same way they make decisions. So we don't necessarily have to start teaching programming by teaching code and lines of code. We can start with blocks and logic blocks, which is what a lot of people are doing as well.
All right, thank you, Joel. Thank you, Ikini, for sharing with us. Yeah, so a lot of information that we need that can help us to step into the future. Technology is where it's at. I'm Alrick McKenzie. The Alrick Show will be back